Hello, welcome back. There's a warning that people are putting their mental health at risk by letting problems with their hearing go untreated. Experts are encouraging everyone to get a hearing screening with follow-up checks every 5 years. It comes as Scotland's first hearing and tinnitus information show opens its door tomorrow, offering advice and support to people who may have concerns. Well, audiologist Alan Hopkirk from the Invisible Hearing Clinic has pulled it all together, and he joins me in the studio now. There's a growing link between hearing loss and mental health problems. Explain a bit more about how that's been discovered.
Well, it's untreated hearing loss, so people not doing something about it, and the significant increase in people with frustration, anger, anxiety and depression because they're coping with, or they're not coping with untreated hearing loss. So it kind of tends to lead them to isolation, and that does lead to some mental health issues. So
it's also been linked to untreated hearing loss, has been linked to dementia as well. That's a relatively recent discovery, isn't it?
Yes, it's fairly recent. I mean, but perhaps suspected as much, but there's more research making the link stronger. And so, for instance, there's not any evidence to suggest that you're at higher risk of dementia if you have taken action with your hearing loss. But untreated hearing loss does seem to cause an increase in the presentation of dementia. So if you have an untreated severe hearing loss, you're 5 times as likely to present with dementia.
There's still a bit of a stigma linked to wearing a hearing aid, isn't there? Do you find that?
The evidence speaks for itself. There are over 10 million hearing impaired people in the UK that would benefit from hearing instruments, and there are 1.5 or less than 1.5 million people who wear hearing aids in the UK, and that's with free provision at the point of going to an NHS audiology clinic. So they're free, but people aren't taking advantage of it.
Well, we'll hear more from you in just a moment, but if it's been a while since you've had your hearing checked, here's what to expect.
Good morning, Katrina. Well, we've had a discussion about some aspects of your hearing and why you're concerned and what's brought you here. So that's interesting. What I'm going to do though is have a look in your ears and just see everything seems normal and you don't have any problems with wax, for instance.
Okay.
So the easiest way for me to do that is just with this otoscope, which we would get in most clinics. Okay. And all we do is look into your ear like so, and we take a little picture of that. And we can see that there's a little bit of wax externally, but that's quite normal and natural. But once we've got those results, the next thing we would do is TIMPs, and TIMPs will tell us what's going on in the middle ear, and that seems to be functioning properly, and it would highlight things that are not working properly. Then I'm going to present sounds to you, and you're going to press a button when you hear them. And then we're going to put a thing behind your ear, and again you're going to press the button when you hear it. And that will give me an indication of whether we need to go further. If I show you what your usable hearing is, you don't like loud sounds, and your ability to hear deteriorates as we go along. And we can see what that means. So this is what you can hear just at the moment. So you can hear quite a lot, but you're missing things. So you're missing the beginnings and the ends of words. With all those tests, we would now think about, well, okay, you seem to be coming back normal, but you're still telling me that you're missing out when you're in company. So we would do further tests which would tell us how well the patient hears in noisy environments. After we've got that, we'll look at how we can resolve it all. We can look at amplification with hearing instruments, and that will compensate for the bits that you're missing. And more importantly, it will send the information to the brain that you're not sending at the moment. So it will restore your auditory function, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep your hearing brain working.
So, Alan, when you're carrying out the hearing test, what are you actually looking for?
Well, the first thing we want to listen to the person that's came along and see what's brought them along. So if it's just they want to get a check, then that's good. We would go through and check their ears are clear and do some simple tests. But they're likely to tell us that there's some issues that they've been concerned about for some time. So we'll hopefully put them at ease. We'll check their ear canals and check there's not wax in their ears, because perhaps that's been the cause of it. It's built up and it's causing their hearing to be dulled. And we can sort that very quickly and very easily.
Is it just older people that you see, or are you seeing more and more younger people coming through?
Well, we specifically, our clinic is the Invisible Hearing Clinic, and we're trying to, that leads to people who are tending to be younger and more image conscious coming to us. But 35% of people with hearing loss are under 65, so that's a significant amount of that population I mentioned.
Do you think it's got anything to do with the fact that we're all wearing the in-ear headphones and things like that constantly?
It's a noisy world out there without iPods and so on. There was a study, I think it was in the 50s, of people from Easter Island, people who lived in Easter Island, compared to a control group of people who went to Venezuela or Ecuador, I'm not quite sure. And they compared those, and the ones that had lived in the noisy mainland had a significant loss of hearing, more than the people that were on the island. So even then, we know that noise is a problem, and a noisy world like industrialised Western society is significantly worse.
So tomorrow sees the first hearing and tinnitus information show that you've pulled together. What can people expect there?
Knowledge. The theme of the show is empowerment through knowledge and technology, and both factors are important, knowledge and technology. So we want to present information about hearing loss, about dealing with it, about tinnitus and dealing with it, and they will be short presentations to the body of the auditorium, and then we'll take questions from the floor. And in between the presentations, every hour, there'll be a chance to go to stands and talk one-on-one to the experts there.
It sounds great. So people shouldn't be afraid to approach you for advice.
Absolutely not, and it's free.
Even better. Alan, thank you very much for joining us this evening.